Don't go anywhere. This is Ask an Autism Mom Live. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Ask an Autism Mom Live. I'm Jen Eggert of LackyKid.com, and you can join me every Thursday live on Facebook to learn tips, meet other parents, and share your insights. I can't wait to talk to you this week about how to make learning at home fun. But first, I want to discuss our new ebook that we are showing to help work on the coronavirus and explaining it to our children. So this very simple ebook is made to help us as a social story for our children. It is very simple, and it is actually got points in it where you can print it off and write in different information like I will go back to school if you know a back to school date, or we do this to stay safe. So you can actually customize our ebook to your child's personal needs. So now that being said, this week I'm sitting down with Matt, and you all know Matt. He's been on the show multiple times. Matt and I will be discussing making learning at home fun. So, welcome everyone. I see someone already typed in the comments. Hi, Riley. Mommy loves you too. This is one way that Riley and I have made learning fun this week. We have downloaded Facebook Messenger for her so she can learn to type better.
That's a good idea.
So, welcome, Matt. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me again.
Like you and I were just talking, we are all struggling with this homeschooling, making schooling fun. You have a background in education, and even you're struggling.
I saw a funny meme on Facebook this morning. Is day one of this whole thing, and it's Mary Poppins with like a bird on her finger, and then day two it's Carol Burnett with like a bottle of vodka. That's kind of where I am. Going into this, everybody had to scramble and try to get ready for their kids being home, and you have to homeschool suddenly. So, I was kind of excited about it because get to kind of practice my teaching skills and doing all that stuff. I was excited about it. But man, week two, and I'm fried. Like it's not an easy job. So if anyone's struggling out there, it's welcome.
I saw the meme today. One child was suspended for not listening, and the other one was expelled for fighting and mouthing off to the teacher. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. So we're all kind of in the same boat. So if you're struggling, welcome to the club.
We are. And I just want to let everyone know, to get the free ebook that we have, guys, simply type ebook in our chat section, and we will have that ebook sent out to you after the show. So welcome Melinda, Michelle, and Amanda, and of course, my Riley. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Matt, let's start with one of your favorite things, which is incorporating movement into learning.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have two boys, right, and two very rambunctious boys. Each one with some severe sensory stuff, and the other one not as much, but there's some stuff there. So keeping them moving is really crucial, So when they're in school, especially the little one, when he comes home, he kind of white knuckles it through the day. When he comes home, it's like a meltdown city. So I was excited to okay, great. I can still get the schoolwork done with him, and then I can incorporate some of that movement, and it is working. I'm able to keep him, sustained a bit longer. So that's cool. So yeah, I do my best to give a lot of movement breaks, and to incorporate movement into the learning activities. And there's a million things out there. There's a lot of resources online, and there's a ton of stuff you can pull from. But easy things to do, especially if you got the little guys. So things like math, spelling, or like rote memorization. Those kinds of things you don't need to sit at a table and do a craft or like write out anything, right? So you can incorporate movement into that. So jump math, where they got to jump from couch to couch or pillow to pillow while doing, flashcards, stuff like that. Or have to spell a word where I do lots of jumping, right? Just because my kids like to jump. Stuff like that is a really cool way to incorporate that kind of movement into that kind of stuff. So big gross motor movement into the learning process is one way to think about it. You know, sometimes that can kind of spin the kids up a little bit, in which case maybe, then, for the next day or give them a break after that. It depends on what activity you do. If I'm doing a lot of movement, or like say I do a lot of jumping, the kids are jumping off the couch, that can spin them up for sure. So I try to end it with like give them some balloons to blow up, and maybe you could write, I haven't tried this yet, but I was thinking about it. But putting letters on the balloons or words on the balloons, I gotta blow up, stuff like that. If you have balloons, but blowing up piece is really a lot of proprioception. It's really resistive, and that's calming. Or maybe I want to end with some squishes or something like that, just to kind of, or turn the lights out and just to bring it back down to get back to learning. So there's incorporating movement in like big gross motor movement into the activities. Also before and after. So like in the morning, we try to get up and like we try to walk the dog. This week has been a disaster because kids been going to bed late, their schedule's off. I've been getting up, and it's hard to motivate sometimes, but it's really worth it. I try really hard. If we don't walk the dog, then we we do go downstairs and do some tumbling or something, or I try to do boxing with the boys or something, anything. And I notice if we do it afterwards, is a little bit better. If we miss it, then it's a little harder. So incorporating movement like in the morning if you can, or before an activity, and then afterwards during break time is just like a good time to just getting movement, looking for that rhythm somehow.
And I want to say, folks, look at your neighborhood where you live. I have seen 3 different ideas that different neighborhoods are doing. One is Easter egg hunt. People are posting Easter eggs on their windows, and you go around and you count how many Easter eggs you find. In our town, we're actually going on a bear hunt. So people are putting bears up.
That's a great idea. I might post that on our neighborhood thing. It's an awesome idea.
It's fun. You could do the bear hunt, the Easter egg hunt, and then there's also Christmas lights. I'm not so big on the Christmas lights. I'm more, let's go hunt for something. Today we hunted for bears, and we saw a superhero bear flying through a tree, and the lady had at the bottom of the tree, they were bears going on an Easter egg hunt. And then over in the corner, there were bears having a picnic. I mean, she went all out.
I don't know if I have time to make. I'll try. That'd be fun, though. Yeah, that sounds like that's an awesome idea. If you can get together with your neighborhood and coordinate
it's
stuff.
Neat. It gets you out, and it gets. We had to count.
Cool. That's great.
Street. So, Christy's saying that they're doing a rainbow scavenger hunt. Oh, I like that. Christina, before I get to your question, how old is your older child? And that will help us kind of narrow things down for you. So, Matt, like we were saying, the whole movement and learning is fun. Were recommended by our teacher to do math addition. Instead of sitting there like they do at school counting on their fingers, we hop.
Awesome.
In every number. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we know how many we have.
That's great. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I only have so much time during the day, right? My wife is working from home. She's in meetings most of the time, and I'm trying to do work in between working with the kids. It's nearly impossible. So, sometimes doing things like giving them board games is a great way to address a lot of skills that you need for academics. So for instance, here's one I love. This is Rush Hour, or Rush Hour Junior is even better. Yeah. And it's a game. It's a lot of movement. You got a card, and you got to set up the board, and then you got to move the cars. And it takes sequencing, it takes planning, problem solving, and those are all skills you need for things like math or setting up a writing structure. Or it's working in that same part of the brain. So even though you might not be working with numbers, board games and activities like that, you go to the. I'm sure you probably have a cupboard full of old ones missing 1,000 pieces or whatever, like we all do, right? But trying to dust some of those off, those are good to use like supplemental. And if you got a cookie, you got to just need a break, or and your kid hasn't done work all day, and you're like, here's a board game, go sit quietly over there. You're actually doing a lot of there's a lot of skill involved in this, and they gotta, maybe if they're able to read or comprehend maybe they got to figure out the directions, figure out how to. Maybe they make up their own games, something like that. So those are a lot of skills that a lot of our kids, because for a lot of reasons, don't get as much time with that maybe, because we don't. Maybe we're not doing it as much at home, and they're more academic at school, more higher cognitive things. These are all very strong skills that we need to build. So stuff like board games, blocks, cards, those things are really, really, really.
Exactly. I actually saw a neat thing on Facebook this week. The mother had a pantry, and the kids earned bucks, and it was just Monopoly money. And they earned money, and then they got to go to the store, but they had to tell her how much money they had, what they were buying, and how much that cost, and then how much money they would have left over. So they were doing math without realizing it.
Oh yeah, the real life stuff is real. Yeah, that's it right there. You can do a ton of stuff. And manipulatives, like things like Legos, building Legos. I just saw my neighbor posted a thing. They're doing a Lego challenge where they have to make a house, and then the kids are challenged to make a house. And I saw somebody else put letters on the Legos, so I stole that idea today. I gave my kid a bunch of letters, and he did a spelling with the Legos, and he's
and there's Lego fractions. If you look up on YouTube, Lego math.
Lego math, awesome. I didn't even know about that.
It's a different way of doing math, and it's fun.
I'm writing that down.
Now, Matt, let's talk about actual lesson resources.
Yeah, so there's a ton of stuff out there. Of course, using whatever the teacher gives you, obviously, and you can use that. If you're a real go-getter, or maybe your teacher hasn't had a chance to even get stuff, or maybe your kid's kind of in limbo. There's a lot of in-betweens and whatever. You can also go to, what is it called? CoreStandards.org. And that's like looking at Common Core standards nationally, where kids' age range should be at that grade level, and then you can see what the standards are. So then you can kind of make your own if you're a real go-getter. If you seek for that understanding piece of it.
So that's CoreStandards.org, correct?
CoreStandards.org, yeah.
Okay.
But then there's stuff like Lesson Planet is a good resource. Curiki. QURRIKI. I didn't actually write I didn't write the website down, but that's it's project-based learning.
Okay.
And there's a webinar on like making projects. If you're one of those parents that has the time and has the patience to make stuff, that's a cool one. And there's really a cool one called prepper.org, PREPR.org. And there are these lessons that are globally project based. So like you're doing things around like hunger or housing, low income housing, things that are like real world global issues, global warming, that kind of thing. And there's all these projects based. It's really cool, pretty straightforward. And I think you got to pay for that one. Sorry, I don't remember. But I do remember that being.
And right now there's a billion resources. There's museums that are going online. There's in Antarctica, I believe it was, a whale watching or a whale research program was online showing how they track whales and stuff. There's
NASA's
in light of Corona, there has been so many people put amazing resources out there.
Yeah, there's almost overwhelming. I mean, there's so much if you could just Google whatever you want, and any museum, I'm sure is San Diego Zoo is showing you.
We did that last week.
Oh yeah, you told us that. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Wrote it down. Yeah, it was great.
And then the Georgia Aquarium was letting the penguins roam loose to visit all the fish.
I know NASA is like beaming stuff. They always do anyway, but it's really easily. My sister was having her kids watch the astronaut brush their teeth, and they were enamored by it. They loved it because that was, and then they talked about space. And
See, I got a kick last week. We watched Betty White read Harry the Dirty Dog, one of our favorite books. And she's like, why is this old lady reading it? I'm like, hush, child. This old lady is an amazing old lady. But there's also Prodigy. For those of you that don't know, it's an amazing website that we use. Our school actually uses it, and it's mainly math-based. And there's another website, and I believe it's mainly reading-based, and it's called Starfall. So we have all of those. Now, Matt, let's talk about, and this is where I'm struggling right now, big time, making lessons fun. See, Matt and I are real. We're gonna admit to you we are struggling.
And this is, I consider my strength. I love teaching and I love moving, and I try to make many projects. And it's hard to be a parent and a teacher at the same time. It's some cases it's impossible. Not all the time, but so I would say my advice to you would be stick to your strengths. Because if I was trying to make it, my wife she's a principal of an elementary school. She knows everything elementary, especially reading and writing. That's her thing. Master's in that. So she works with my little guy really well. She wasn't able to work with him today, so I was doing my best. So that wasn't my strength. I just stuck to the whatever she gave me. I forget. I can't even remember.
Yep.
But my older guy, we were doing the writing process, or excuse me, paragraph writing, like a topic, sentence, and then supporting detail. But that hamburger looking thing. So what we did is we went downstairs. We made an obstacle course, and he had to make an obstacle course, and he had to run his brother through it. So then we related that to the writing process, or excuse me, the introductory paragraph. I can't even remember what it's called. I'm sorry, but he had to introduce it. He had to explain what was going on and give the supporting details, and then he had concluded it. So it was really easy because he's talking about it, he's building it, he's moving it, and now we're making it more concrete. Stuff like that is if it doesn't have to be pen and paper, sit down and talk about it. You can physically make stuff. So things like like I said, math is easy to do because it's you can incorporate the problem into like a thing. Spelling is good, but like for some of the older kids, stuff like that's a bit more abstract. It's a little bit more difficult, but so stuff like that is cool. So the writing process, you can relate it to something physical, something tangible, something like the obstacle course, sequencing. I had some more examples. I'm sorry. Have them with me upstairs.
You're good. Let's answer some of these questions before we get to our last point, because our last point I feel is going to be the most important of tonight. Real quick, let me get to some of these questions. Recommendations for older children. Christina, it really depends on your child. Age to me doesn't matter. To me, what matters is their needs and where they're at and what skills you want them to learn. And Matt, I think you'd agree with me on that. It's kind of, at this point, we take age out of it and do what's necessary.
Yeah, recommendations for what? For school? For
I'm assuming it came up when we were discussing lesson resources. So a lot of the resources that we gave do have a variety of age resources. The Common Core standards, that will have a resource for all ages. I mean, it'll have the Common Core standards for each age level or each grade level. So that's going to be there. Now we have Jill Stanford asks, how do you keep up with schooling for younger kiddo with no place to be? I don't want him to fall back because of something out of my control. Trying to figure out exactly what you're asking, Jill, with no place to be. I guess you can really learn anywhere. I mean, Matt, we've talked in the past about how Reggie will go outside in the hammock and he'll read.
Yeah.
So I guess you can kind of use what you've got where you are.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the last point you and bring up about maybe not. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic, right? Everyone's in the same boat. We're trying to keep our kids as close to grade level as possible and do our job from home, most of us, or even just get through the day, because some of our kids are a bit more challenging and it's tough. So, I mean, we do what we can, use your strengths and take breaks. And I wouldn't, do your best not to stress about it, because we're all kind of going through the same thing. It's not easy. It's for sure not easy. My wife and I are pulling what we have and doing what we can, but even still, we're not, it's not the same as going to school. So instead, some of the things I'm focusing on is, Jen and I were talking about this before, is doing some real life stuff. Like yesterday was a total disaster. Like I gave up in the morning, and we cleaned toilets. It was kind of a punishment, but at the same time, a learning, because they were having a rough morning, and I was done. I was like, you know what, I can't do this. I got some stuff I got to do. This is how you clean a toilet. And we did that. And then we cleaned the fridge. And then we went outside and we threw sticks at schools, threw rocks at a target. Just these are things we don't normally have time for, but those are important skills to have that will help you later in life. Like especially things like cleaning and you were talking about, you did the real life math. That's really important stuff. If you have the time and you have the patience and you have the ability, then focus on those things. If you are having struggling in some of those areas, take a break and do what you feel it will work in that moment.
And I mean, I'm teaching, my son will be 16 in a week, and we've been working on real life skills like cooking.
Yeah.
And last night we had an accident on the carpet, and I taught him how to use a steam cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, real life problems, they arise. You don't even know what you might come across. Exactly. Like suddenly you're cooking, I'm going to teach cooking, and oh crap, now I'm teaching how to use a steam cleaner, right?
Yep.
It's doing things that are positive, that are fun, and keeping them engaged is also a big part of it.
Exactly. And one thing that Angela King says is to keep them engaged, and I love it. On YouTube, there's Cosmic Kids Yoga.
Oh, cool.
It's a really fun program, Matt. You'd love it.
Cosmic Kids Yoga. I understand this.
Cosmic Kids Yoga. It's very calming, and it's helping them center and focus and using muscles. I love it. Angela Renee says that they love ABC Mouse. I agree. ABC Mouse is amazing. And I believe there is a code somewhere online that right now, because of what is going on in the world, ABC Mouse is actually giving most families that qualify 3 months of free ABC Mouse resources. So, Angela King again says, our school had our kids make games with dice and Legos. So now the kids are using them all the time. That's a fun, neat, it's different. And that's what we're saying. We're not teachers. We're not in a school. Traditional learning is not going to work at home.
And you can mix it up. I mean, I have a little whiteboard I found somewhere at a thrift store ages ago, but I ended up having I don't have worksheets. My printer's broken all the time. It doesn't work. So we end up having some dry erase markers and writing on the window or on the kitchen counters, because that stuff wipes off. And then, then they got to clean it off. And then they're getting some good fine motor and shoulder stability and all that. But.
Now, Christina asked for older kids, it was about the movements. Pretty much any movement you can do is acceptable for all ages. But like Matt was saying, one of their movements yesterday was learning how to scrub a toilet, that physical exertion of scrubbing a toilet. I live where it's beautiful. It was 86 today. I've been getting Jack to mow the lawn. It's physical exercise.
Yeah. Outdoor chores for sure. Yeah, we started building a garden. I had my kids make a lattice for tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
It was a disaster.
My parents are going camping this weekend. So my kids went around our yard and picked up twigs and put them in a bucket for kindling for my parents.
And, I think that reminds me also, like kicking your kids outside and or wherever, letting them be bored, I think is a big skill, because we live in a time where we're like all over our kids, that helicopter parent kind of style, right?
Yep.
You gotta remember, like, it's okay, so 4 hours went by, I haven't seen my kid. That can be a really good thing. Like, then they're in there, they're making their own decisions about either they're outside or they're in their room or somewhere, as long as they're not setting the house on fire. You don't want
And I
that.
mean, well, when they're babies, everyone keeps telling you, let them learn to self-soothe. This is the same, but it's more for older kids. Let them learn how to work it out on their own.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let them learn how to be alone, because you're not always going to have someone hovering over you.
I've even run away from the dad, and I'm out. So I need a break.
Don't all parents lock themselves in the bathroom at some point in their day?
Twice a day.
Hey, today it's only been once, so we're good, but it's only 7:30. What is the best way to keep a kid that's 7 focused? Lots of movement breaks,
Yeah,
lots of engagement.
movement's good, and then I think when we talk about focus, I mean, movement is great. Movement is fantastic. And like before an activity, if you can do it during an activity, definitely take a break after the activity. Like moving as much as possible, depending on what's going on with your kiddo. But when in doubt, use heavy work. Right, heavy work is a great way to kind of help your brain get organized. And when you know what heavy work is, it's picking up weight or moving weight, and that can, like today I had my little guy lifting weights. And I had him in the basement where he was just picking up a dumbbell, a 2-pound dumbbell. He loved it. But it doesn't have to be that. Maybe your kid doesn't. That's not his thing. So, stacking pillows or swinging around, stacking heavy buckets of water or picking up rocks outside. Anything where there's resistance. That proprioceptive input it does help you get organized. So that you can mess around with that.
Jason actually said that every day they have PE lessons in the backyard for an hour. They do jump rope, running laps in the neighborhood, playing different exercising games. If it's raining, they'll go inside and use the balance ball chair or the wiggle seat, because you can actually balance yourself on them to work on those core muscles. Lay on the balance ball chair and work those muscles.
Yeah. And in my opinion, I mean, well, it's a fact. Kids don't get PE every day. In my opinion, if you guys take an hour a day or 2 hours or the majority of the day to move, it's only going to benefit the kids in the long run, especially kids with regulation or focus difficulties.
Exactly.
That's going to help in the long run. The more they move, the more they're not sitting and doing the work. The more they're building that body up. It does help with focus. It does help with regulation. So
I agree.
Let them rip. Let them.
Ooh, I'm excited. Angela's PE teacher actually is recording different lessons and posting them on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
So that they learn. That's an amazing thing. Matt, I know you have your site where you post different ideas.
I post a lot of stuff on my Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, almost daily. A couple times a day now. That's like I just keep blasting it up there. So
that's Sensory Tacoma, is it not?
Sensory Fitness Tacoma.
Sensory Fitness Tacoma.
And then on my website as well, you can see it, sensoryfitness.org. And I have a blog that gives you some ideas.
Now, we have one more point that I want to get into. I know we're getting close to the end of the show, but I really feel this is important because we're all getting stressed out. I mean, we're at the point where we've been locked down long enough. Our kids are stressing us out. Our spouse is stressing us out. We have work to worry about. So how do we deal with not stressing about kids not doing their work while we have to work? Because we can't put our lives on hold. We still have to work to provide for our families.
Great question.
So
what
do we do about not stressing about kids not doing their work? I mean, honestly, if they can't do their work, we do it on weekends. We've broken it up so much because she can't handle it that we do it on weekends, and I work during her breaks.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I would say, do you, Teddy Roosevelt, do what you can with what you have where you are. And anything more than that is icing on the cake. And if you can't do anything more than that, then, sanity is important. It's just, like why it's the same reason we're not going to work right now is because there's a dangerous virus. We got to keep it together so we can be healthy and go back out to work. Same thing in the house, right? We want to keep our sanity so we can have positive relationships with everyone we're stuck in the house with. And on top of that, be specific. Like I would look for. There's certain times of the day where we're all kind of more focused, where everyone has like a natural rhythm to things.
Mm-hmm.
Look at times where you think your kid is most focused, and you. Does it like I know at in the morning, my kid's a little bit more focused. Me, I'm not. It takes me a little while to get going. Like around 11 o'clock, for some reason, I start to kind of get like, okay, I'm ready now. My kid's like, wah! But that's the time I take because I can manage them. After that, we're both kind of scattered. But you look for your windows of opportunity. If you have a schedule and you want to stick to that, I think that's important. If you want to have some room for elbow room, I think that's also important too. And not stress about it. Again, like focus on these other skills that we don't have time for, like everything we just talked
about. Now, Matt, this is right up your alley. Tiffany asks, when I do PE with my son, he gets overexcited and starts hitting and yelling.
Okay, so I guess it depends on what you're doing. If are you outside running around? If I would look at what kind of activities you're doing. Things that are big and open where I maybe I'm throwing a ball back and forth or it's very visual, that can be very overstimulating. Things that require a bit more like body awareness, where like I'm again heavy work or it's a little bit what's up, buddy? I got no personal space here. So things that give a little bit more body awareness. So like picking up heavy weights or medicine ball, stuff like that, where I'm getting all that heavy work, or I have to squeeze under stuff and I'm getting that pressure and I'm slowing down. That can help. When in doubt, use kind of the proprioception, if that makes sense.
Now, I just want to remind all of you, we do have the ebook for explaining. It's a social story about the coronavirus. If you want to get it, type ebook in our chat session and we will send it off to you. I want to thank you all for joining us. I know Matt's got the boys starting to get a little bit antsy and wanting dad.
I think I'm getting antsy.
So I'm going to say thank you all for joining us tonight. And thank you, Matt, for joining us yet again and helping us kind of navigate this new normal, we shall call it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I love it.
So everyone, just thank you for joining us. Now, remember, we are live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, we're off because of technical difficulties last night. But don't forget, we also have a parent support group, Ask an Autism Parent, where you can come and get support. We have different people in there. Matt's in there if there's a problem with stuff. I have been known to tag Matt and get his opinion on things. We have different people that we tag that have different perspectives on things. It's a positive group. I don't allow negativity. So check out our Facebook group. And we have the show. So please check us out. And I hope you all have an amazing week. Thank you, Jason, for putting our Facebook group link. Thank you, Riley, for telling Mommy I did a good job. See, guys, simple.
I was going to say real quick, sorry. If anyone has a question, a sensory-related question they want to direct to me, you can find me on Facebook. Like Tiffany, Cash, was it? Yeah, if you want things like that, feel free to message me anytime, and I'm open to help giving my advice.
And Tiffany, if you can't find Matt, post it in group and ask us to help you find Matt, and I will connect you with Matt. But guys, see what I mean? Riley is sitting here, I'm working, and she's learning by talking and typing.
Good job, Riley.
You do what you got to do, folks. And in this case, it works for us. Jason also posted the link for Sensory Fitness Tacoma's Facebook page. So if you have any questions for Matt, he is available through that Facebook page all the time. And like we said earlier, Matt, you post different videos frequently when you get a chance. That will help our parents a lot, I think. So thank you all. I will see you all next week at 7 p.m. Until then, remember, empower, support, and educate. Bye.